Features on this new Olympus camera are borderline absurd. Check this out, 20x optical zoom. That is amazing. It's the Olympus SP570UZ. This thing is amazing, 10 megapixels. And it really feels a lot like an SLR. It's actually more comfortable than a lot of the SLRs I picked up. The grip, I'm going to go on about the grip for just a second. The grip is amazing. Now you have 20x zoom along with that 10 megapixel sensor. It's Olympus glass too. You get some crystal clear shots out of this. Also, when you zoom in, you want to make sure that your shots are stable, and it does have sensor shift stabilization. That means that the actual sensor on the inside of the camera moves up and down to counteract the natural shake of your hands. And that shake is amplified. The more you zoom, the more it gets a little shaky. For instance, it's all the way zoomed. And notice here, see how it's a little jittery? Well, that jitter will show up in your pictures, and it'll make the pictures blurry. With this one, since it has the sensor shift technology, inside this camera, the sensor is shaking too. So it's like a dance party. But it's going to make your pictures a lot nicer. Now, there's a lot of buttons, a lot of features on this. You've got the wheel here, You've got the wheel here. This is really handy when you want to change the shutter and the aperture. There's buttons everywhere. Don't be intimidated. I'm going to cover it. The video is going to be 5 or 6 minutes, so just bear with me, but I want to cover all the features you get with this camera. It can be used as a point and shoot. You can get some amazing pictures of your kids if they play sports or something. You can zoom right in on the action and be right there with them. Also, we have a pop-up flash in the front. Now, the pop-up flash helps to remove red eye because it separates the flash from the lens. When you get the flash closer to the lens, that produces more red eye. So having it separated from the lens like that reduces the red eye. Now, let's go straight into the features and the functions. On the back, you've got a 2.7-inch LCD screen. And if you want to save some battery life, or say you're outdoors and it's really bright out, press this button. It all goes inside there, and then it shows you the information about your shot right there on the back. Now, this is cool. Let me go back to the normal view. All this information, this is just about the same information you get on one of their SLR models. SLR models are similar to this, except they allow you to replace the lens. I don't see why you need to. You've already got ridiculous zoom. Now, right here, you can change the white balance, you can change the exposure compensation, you can change practically all the settings on the camera. You can shoot in JPEG, or we can, change it up to higher or lower quality there. So you have access to all these things right here on the back of the camera. So that's nice as well. Now, let's start up here on the wheel, and I'll come back to all this. Now, on the wheel, if you've ever used an SLR, a professional camera, you know your way around this. If you don't know how to use a camera, well, you're going to get some great shots in the automatic mode. It really locks down a lot of the features. As you can see here, when I press the function button, it's not available in automatic mode, so you're not going to be able to get too lost. When you go into this mode, this is an automatic mode. It automatically sets the shutter and the aperture still, but it gives you more control. It allows you to change a lot of those other settings and features. This is the aperture priority. Let me turn it over here. In aperture priority, you set the aperture. You make the background as blurry as you want or as clear as you want, and then it sets the shutter. Here, this is shutter priority. You can set the shutter, and then it'll set the aperture on its own. In manual mode, you have a lot of control. All right, here we're in manual mode. In manual mode, you can use this dial to change the shutter and the aperture. The shutter will go as slow as 1/15th of a second, or bulb, and it'll go as fast as 1/1000th of a second. So that's cool. And in manual, you can really get creative. Now, we also have my favorites, which you can save. You set some settings and then save them there, so they'll be easily accessible. Then we have all kinds of scene modes, and the scene modes are extremely easy to use because it shows you what each mode does. There's one for portrait, landscape, you get all the standard modes, sport, night scene, and there's all kinds of extra modes that you've probably never seen before. For instance, you have behind glass mode and document mode, and if you're someone who's shooting for eBay or something, you've got auction mode. There's all kinds of modes here, and these really help improve the shots depending on what scenario you have. If you really don't know much about cameras, or maybe you just want to learn a little more, maybe you know some things but you want to learn some new things, well, there's a guide here, and this guide will actually tell you how to do different things that you've seen. Maybe you saw some really cool pictures, really cool close-up pictures, but yours always come out blurry. Well, this one will tell you how to set a super close-up. It says use the super macro mode, and you're like, well, how do I do that? Well, if you just want to do it quickly, if there's a bumblebee there and you want to get him, you press the OK button, it changes it to super macro mode for you. So the guide does a lot of the things for you, but it also teaches you what to do in all the different circumstances. We can also do movies with this. which is something different than SLRs. SLRs do not let you do movies. This will do 640 by 480 at 30 frames a second. That's the max resolution on the movies. There's the play mode, auto mode. All right, now let's show you around the buttons here. Starting up here, this is the autofocus lock. If you find a focus you like, you press it and it'll lock the focus. That changes the display. All right, looking through the options on the back here, we have macro and super macro mode, so it lets you get really close to the subject. Down here, we've got the different timers, 12-second and 2-second. Over here, we've got all kinds of flash modes. We're in macro mode now. I have to turn that off so I can access the flash modes. There we go, flash modes. Look at all these. Fill-in flash. We've got flash off, slow sync, red eye slow, slow sync too. So there's a lot of different flash modes, and you can even opt to get a wireless flash, and this will power a secondary wireless flash if you want to hold it up somewhere else. So that's cool as well. Now, some of you might be wondering, where's the exposure compensation button? Well, it's up here. Very easy to access right there, and that'll make the shot darker or brighter depending on your scenario, so that's nice. Over here we have some options for the menu button, and this is the one I want to talk about for just a second. That is a button that controls your lighting. This actually is a shadow adjustment. Now, if the person is in the shade, or if maybe he's backlit, there's a light behind him, turn this mode on and he'll be bright instead of in the shadow, so that's a nice feature as well. Now, how does the zoom work? There's no zoom button on the back. It's all done just like a real camera. That's what I like about this. It feels so much like a real camera. Now, right over here on the camera, everything's really easy to get to. It's all right where my hands are going anyway. This brings up the flash. You press the button. If you don't press the button, it's not going to fire the flash for you. Right here, this allows you to go into a burst mode. You press this, and then you can hold the shutter down, and it just keeps shooting. So that's nice. Down here we have automatic focus or manual focus. So you can focus it manually if you want to get really specific, focus on one thing and have everything else blurred, you can do that. Opening up the bottom here, we can see that this camera takes AA's. It comes with 4 AA's. You can also replace these with rechargeable AA's. That's probably what I would do, because I like the environment. And also, over here on the side, let's open it up and show you the memory card slot there. This one takes XD cards. So make sure you stock up on some XD cards, because it does take XD, and it does take large images since it's 10 megapixels, so get a large XD card. So there's a lot of features packed into this camera, but again, the keys are the fact that it has that huge 20x zoom. I really like the grip. I'm partial to this grip. It feels great in your hands. Awesome image quality, 10 megapixels. You've got the sensor shift, so while you're zoomed all the way in, you're not going to get blurry images. And all in all, you've just got a loaded camera, and it's not that large. I mean, even with the lens all the way out, it's not a huge camera. If you need even more of a flash, well, right on top there's a hot shoe, so you can even mount a large-sized flash onto this unit. So all in all, an excellent camera from Olympus. It's the Olympus SP570 UZ. Check it out. I'll see you next time. For more information on this loaded 10 megapixel camera from Olympus, go to CompUSA.com and type 083-1100 into the search box. Or call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-800-COMP-USA.